Hello everyone, welcome back to Victor's Analytics Hub. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about Power Query. Power Query is good, it's great because it allows you to transform data before you can actually pull it into Power BI. So if you want to make changes like adding or deleting columns, changing your data type, and a lot of other things, you can do that with the Power Query editor. So on my screen here, I have customer data sets. I have their full name, I have their address, I have their age, their date of birth, and their review. Now, if you are to look at my full name, I have a lot of irregular spacings and I have comma before a name and also comma after a name. I'm also facing the same issue in my customer address. I have comma before an address and after an address. If you come to my age, I'm still facing the same issue. I feel like the date of birth, my customer's date of birth is the only thing that isn't dirty here. So I don't think I'll be touching it while I'm working on the Power Query editor. So now if you are coming to my review, if you notice everything is being written in lower cases and I have irregular spacings too with comma before and after a review. Okay. So these are what I want to be cleaning up using the Power Query editor. Okay. So let me open my Power BI. Okay. Now that my Power BI is open, okay, I just have to cancel this. Okay, all I have to do is I'll click import data from Excel, select my file, chaos customer data, open. So a navigator window is going to pop up. Okay, it's connecting. Okay, so this is the navigator window video. I only have one data in this customer chaos customer data. So I'm just going to use what I have. And I can also decide to see a preview of the data set that I'm working with to check if I'm working with the right data. So as you can see, this is the right data. Okay, so I'm going to check the box. You can hit load, but in this video, we are going to be transforming data because it's a very dirty data set. Okay, so before I begin working on this data set, cleaning a lot of things, I want to show you what the Power Query editor looks like. So top left here, I have my queries. This is just the data I pulled in. Okay, so assuming if I was to pull in multiple data, multiple queries will appear here. Okay, so on the top here, I have my ribbons, which offer a lot of functionality. So I can decide to remove columns, choose column, keep rows, split column. These are things you are more likely to work with if you are using the Power Query editor. Okay, so up here I have another tab, transform, which also have a lot of functionalities too, where I can decide to unpivot a column, move, convert to list. I can also decide to split columns here. You understand? Okay, I have another tab called add columns. I believe this is very explanatory. You can decide to add custom columns from examples, and many other things. There's a lot of functionalities in these tabs. Okay, I have three more tabs: view, tools, and help. But these are the three main columns, which is add column, transform, and home. Okay, so right here, I have my query settings where I can decide to give my data put in a name. I can decide to change the name. So I'm going to write chaos customer data. And you see it's going to reflect it if I hit enter. See, I changed the name of my query. I have my apply steps. Now, these apply steps are very important and very useful. Anytime I make an attempt to transform this data, every step I take into transforming this data is going to be documented right here. Okay. Okay, now so let me start cleaning my data. So now my first name, I want to first of all trim this. I want to trim it. So I want to remove this irregular spacings here. So let me add a custom column. Okay. Let me give it a name. 2.0. Okay, so I'm going to use a trim function, text trim, full name, insert the I forgot to do something before I did this. I forgot to do something before I did this. Okay, now I've trimmed it, but you can see not all spacings. It isn't back to it is not yet back to its normal spacing the way it should be. Okay, so what I will do is that I will look for, as you can see, I told you guys I have commas before and after my name. So what I'll do is I'll look for that comma and take it. As you can see, I still have irregular spacing in it. So this is what I would have done first, but it still doesn't matter. I can decide to change it if I wanted to, but so okay, it's not. Now let me trim it again, so it will back to its regular spacing. Okay, so format, trim. Okay, now so I can decide to delete this column, remove. Okay, now I want to separate it. I want to separate it. Let it be first name and last name. I don't want the full names, I don't want it to be together. Okay, so I'm going to split my column by delimiter. Okay, so what is separating the first from the last name, the first name from the last name? Space. Okay, okay, now I'm holding that shift to select this full name 2.02. So I want to capitalize each word. You can see that everything is no longer written in lowercase. I can double click this to change the header. So this is my first name. This is my last name. Now let me work on this customer address. You can see the spelling is not even spelled correctly. Okay. Now let me take away the comma value to find, and the reason I'm leaving this replaced with empty is because I want you to find the comma, then replace it with nothing. If you are, if you are working with a different data set where you have to replace it with something else, you put that thing you want to replace it with, right, into this empty. I'm just going to call it cell. Okay, so let me trim it. I can do it different ways. I can come here and hit trim, or I can create, I can add a column, add customer address. Two points. Oh, okay, so trim. I want to trim my customer address. Insert, close my parentheses, hit OK. Okay, drag it down, drag it, drag it across, not drag it down. I'm sorry for that. Then I'll think I'll just delete this. So right click, remove. Let me change this to just customer address. Okay, now so my customer age. So I want to trim this column. Okay, so previously I showed you how to use a formula to trim your column. So I'm going to do the easier way. I'm just going to hit trim. Another column is going to be created. Okay, I think I need to delete this now. So I selected it and I hit that delete button on my keyboard. So now the column has been deleted. So I'm going to call this my customer age. Customer age. Okay, now so now let me go ahead and remove these commas after the age. Okay, so transform, replace values, comma, find it, replace it with nothing. Okay, now so Power Query is still recognizing these numbers, even if as you can still see it as a number, but it's not recognized as a number in Power Query. Okay, so I'll come here and change the data type to a whole number. Okay, now you can see the symbol here has changed to numbers. Now Power Query is recognizing it as a number. Okay, so my date of birth, I don't think anything is wrong with this date of birth. Everything is okay. So let me go to my customer review and I will find that comma and I will replace it with nothing. Now, let me go ahead and trim it. So now I can decide to come here and trim. So I'm still going to use a formula to trim my column. Okay. So customer review. To avoid confusion, I'm just going to call it 2.0 again. Okay. So trim, text trim. And to trim my customer review. I keep forgetting to add my parentheses. Okay, customer review. Then close my parentheses. Okay, another column is going to be created. Now I'm going to delete this column. So you can right click and hit remove, or you can select the column and hit remove on from your keyboard and hit delete on your keyboard. Okay, now so it's still written in lower cases. So to change this is very easy. So I can come here and capitalize each word. Okay, okay, everything is looking okay to me. Everything is looking okay to me. So I have my first name, I have my last name, I have my customer address, I have my customer age, I have my date of birth, customer review. Okay, so I still need to delete this customer review 2.0. I capitalize the word, so let me hit my select it, remove. Okay, now so I'm going to rename this. Okay, so customer review, customer review, hit enter. Okay, so I'm done cleaning this data set. So all I have to do to finalize this process now is to come over to close and apply. And once I do this, everything I've worked on is going to be applied and the data is going to be put into Power BI so I can be able to create my visualizations. Okay, so let me hit the close and apply. Okay, now so you can see my data. Now, if I want to edit this, maybe if I made a mistake somewhere, I can come over to this area and edit query, and this will take me back to my Power Query editor. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, be sure to like and subscribe.